I don't want to jinx myself, but pretty buttoned up at the start. The rest of the week, we have been doing the evolution of technical stuff. And here we are at our final form, I think. By the way, guys, I know that different days we've had Q&As before, Q&As after. Is there anything that, like, from this entire week, over these 4 days, anything that you're still curious about, anything that I could answer, even if it's a general question about Amazon ads? I'm happy to use this couple of minutes before the start to try and answer things for anybody. One of the things I do as an agency, I'm in a whole bunch of different communities, and in one community every month I do a PPC AMA. So once a month I get on, and as long as it runs, as long as everybody has questions to throw at me, I'm just answering any question that anybody throws at me about Amazon marketing. So that day was this week. So I'm still a little bit in AMA mode. So if anybody has anything, it's the right time to ask. Paul, it is a completely different community. I'll I'll cover it separately afterwards.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So my big question is on Kevin's thing. You said I don't recommend that anyone stop doing what they're doing and doing only this, right? That's what you said. So I understand. I mean, you did explain to some degree that Amazon favors aged campaigns and that that would be a reason why that. But starting out, like I completely shit canned all my campaigns because they were just throwing stuff at the wall to see what I got. So I'm going to start from the beginning with using your structure, and I just don't see any reason why you wouldn't put some of these modifiers like frequent returners, even if it's a broad, still spitballing campaign, but why you wouldn't put on a modifier of someone who returns, someone who leaves bad feedback. I feel like you would use this for pretty much any campaign if you have access to it.
So there's a couple of things to unpack here. The first thing is, in most cases where AMC is being implemented, like 90% plus of cases, AMC is being implemented into a ad strategy that is already running. Launches, of course, are brand new, and shit canning an entire ad account and starting fresh is something new. But those are not the majority of situations. Most of the time, people are running and selling and spending and ranking, like they have everything in place. They've done actions on those accounts for very long periods of time in some case. And I want to go out of my way to explain those things have value to Amazon. Like I said during the Kevin King webinar. Now, there is, in the world of content on Amazon, there is a very frequent thing where people will suggest, do the thing that I'm saying, and this will take you to the peaks of success. And don't do anything else except what I'm telling you right now. This is always the worst thing. Okay. Amazon, any of these things that we always talk about are always evolutionary. Amazon is a system that changes pieces at a time, and this is the latest piece. Now, this one is really impactful. I mean, we've gotten into the data, and you can see things you literally have never been able to see before. You've been able to take that stuff and turn it into actions you couldn't take before. So this is different. But also, it is, in its own way, it is different than anything that existed before. In its own way, it is still incremental. One of the challenges, that you don't have this challenge, but a lot of the people who are going to be larger or more established with their campaigns is going to run into, is all of these audiences exist in Amazon as a modifier to a regular campaign. The regular campaign part is still a regular campaign that shows to the full audience of Amazon. So when you layer the modifier on top of that, you're obviously giving extra focus to this group of people you've identified for whatever you're doing with them. But the rest of the campaign is still functioning as the rest of the campaign. And that rest of the campaign is competing with another campaign that's going to exist that looks like this one for 85% of the structure. It will be competing with that. So you have to be delicate and you have to be careful not to bust the thing that's working already. On one hand, the concepts are simple. Use this to nibble around the edges. On the other hand, you want to be delicate and you want to be thoughtful about how you do those things. With what you're doing right now, so I gave an explanation which applies to everybody except you, obviously. For what you're doing right now, one of the things we're going to talk about is a fresh possibility. And there's actually an interesting thing. I came up with this idea. I actually haven't even had a chance to implement it yet because I just haven't had the right SKU to attach it to. Okay. But in a case like yours, there is a possibility that you can go and take the entire world of people on Amazon, break them all into audiences. If you can if your ads are going to show to 1 million people, all of those 1 million people can be segmented into different audiences. What you can do at that point is your entire ad campaign structure can be broken into all low bid campaigns with all modifiers for different audiences. And then every different audience is segmented as a campaign. It's a thought. I have not done it yet, so I haven't run into all of the headaches that would go into constructing such a situation. But to your thought that could you do such a thing? You could do it. There's a lot of details to it. When I did the work of preparing for this 5 hours that you've had, leading up to it, I've done 100 hours or more internally with the agency, and taking that 100 hours and turning it into a presentation format is like 30 more hours. Every time you see me here online for 1 hour, there's 3 hours minimum that went into setting it up into a way which is cleanly digestible. So the thing that you want to do right now is going to be its own mountain of thinking in hours, because you're going to start to build out audiences. You're going to say, okay, this is an audience on day one, but what happens after the first time they see my ad? How do I build out the second stage of the funnel? All the things which are new because of this style have to be figured out. Does that all sort of make sense? It's sort of a rant, but hopefully also it's answering the question.
It answers it. You're suggesting that it's not 100% weighted. Because if it was 100% weighted, then you could split up all of Amazon into audiences if those audiences were 100% weighted and there was no overlap. If it's not 100% weighted, which seems to be what you're saying, then there would be overlap if you attempt to split those audiences.
When you say weighted, what do you mean by weighted?
I'm saying that when you apply an audience, you're saying that 15% is still going to be to all of Amazon, which means that there's not 100% weighting of that. There's no absolutes in that audience. That Amazon either doesn't consider its assumptions 100% true, and therefore it's weighting its assumptions live, or in some semblance of live, or it's, that it's not such a black and white. It's not a binary. That Amazon's things that it's putting in those queries that look binary, that maybe they're not binary, or maybe the whole system they don't have 100% faith in, so they're not weighting it 100%. They're just saying only weight it this much.
Okay, so this is a super interesting conversation. We'll give it another couple of minutes because it probably will take more than a couple of minutes. But I feel like there's a gap in the explanation of how the mechanics work with campaigns and how they work with modifiers. Okay. So the way a standard campaign works is that you pick your keyword and you pick your bid and you pick your modifiers. There's a certain group of settings for where you want your campaign to show. All right. Amazon will, every time somebody makes that search, Amazon will look at your campaign, say, do these settings let you get into the possibility for showing your ad to a shopper? The ad auction. You're familiar with this, I guess, right? This concept?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's our baseline right now. So to put it into an example, right now, if you have a keyword that says, bottle opener, and you have a campaign where you're bidding $1 and you have a modifier for top of search that is 50%, which means you'll spend up to $1.50. What does Amazon do with that when somebody searches for bottle opener? Two things happen. So the first thing that happens is they start off by confirming that your product is a match for what the shopper wants to buy. They make sure that your keyword that you selected matches the keyword that the shopper purchased. Of course, they modify with broader phrase, but they want to make sure that your keyword is matching what the shopper purchased. And then they look at your bid. Okay. Depending on where your bid sits compared to all the other bids, they will see where to put your ad. If you qualify for what you sell to be right, if you qualify for your keyword being right, if you meet all of the first steps, then they say, okay, where are we going to put your ad? Now, step one in this decision-making process is your base bid. If your base bid of $1 right off the bat is higher than everybody else, nobody else bid as high as $1, your ad will show top of search. Now, sometimes you won't be top of search. Sometimes people will be bidding 120, 130, 140. Then what Amazon does is, oh, right now your dollar is only good enough for page 2, but we see that you put in a 50% modifier for top of search. Because everybody else that's currently at top of search is only going as high as $1.38, and you are willing to spend up to $1.50 for top of search, not for any other position, we'll take from you $1.39 because you're willing to spend 50% over that dollar. But you could have been top of search with just your dollar. Now you need the modifier to get to top of search. Now with the audience, it layers another layer on top of that. You're willing to pay extra for this audience, but not for that audience. In one situation, you're willing to pay extra for one position, but not another position. Here, you're willing to pay extra for an audience, as opposed to all the rest of Amazon. You might not have needed that bid to be top of search for that audience if your bid was high enough. So some of the time, you're putting a modifier with a bid that didn't really need the modifier anyway. It's not possible to know because you don't see anybody else's bids. Amazon only knows that internally. But some significant amount of the time, your initial base bid, before even the modifier is put on top of it, that base bid will be enough to be top of search. You are just forcing the system to say, don't ever not consider me. I want to pay a lot for top of search because this is the audience that matches who I want to show to.
Yeah, but I don't care if I'm going to segment Amazon into audiences. I don't care if my bids overlap and compete against each other at 10 cents because they're not even going to be in the running. But if I have one campaign in that audience that's at 10,000%, that's at 1,000%, whatever it is, increase, modifier, then I'm only showing when my audience shows up. If the audience system is 100% weighted. If it truly is 100% weighted, I can bid everything at a dime and then select my percentage based on my audience confidence or using the research tools, what the data is telling me my audience, my audience proclivity is.
Yes. So according to the mechanics that Amazon describes to us, you are correct. It should be that if your audience segmentation is perfect, that there's no overlap anywhere else, and your top of search modifier is enough to beat every other bid, and again, the audience is segmented so that you're not having any bleed over of any other groups of people,
right,
the weighting should be 100% that yes, that segment and that campaign will only show to that audience. That is correct. But here's where the algorithm comes into play. The bid and the audience is not the only thing determining where you show and what your bid is. So, or they're not showing what your position is. There are other factors like your product relevance, age of campaign, competition. There are other things that are factored in there. Those are all a gray area that we don't have insight to, and we don't have any access to adjusting for those. So this is it's not going to be 100% weighted. It'll be 100% weighted from the action you can take. It's not 100% weight to Amazon's algorithm.
You can only do what you can do. I'm saying as a strategy, to me, it seems like, why would you spitball when you can do the research on what's more likely to convert and start from there. It just
the reason, yeah. So the reason is this: if you have perfect information, then of course the obvious thing to do is to use your perfect information. Our problem is that we don't have perfect information. Audiences are described imperfectly in every situation. Audiences overlap, even no matter how tightly you segment. One human being can be a part of multiple of your audiences. It's always going to be the case.
Yeah, of course.
So right off the bat, your 100% weighting is not 100% weighting. Any human being can be part of many different, not just one or two. They can be part of many of your audiences. So that, I guess the truth is I probably could have answered the question with that exact statement right there. Any individual person can be part of many audiences. There's no way to exclude completely to laser down to one specific set of humans that are not in any other audience.
But what would I care if my campaign, if I have like a fishing campaign at $1 at a competitive bid, right? At whatever the competitive bid is, I have a fishing campaign on that. And then I'm using an audience modifier on the exact same keyword, the exact whatever it is, the exact same campaign with a modifier with a 1000% modifier. Why would I care if they do butt up against each other occasionally, or more than occasionally if the audience is large? But why would I care if they butt up against each other, compete with each other?
Because the value of each campaign is being reduced. A campaign that makes 1,000 sales is more valuable to Amazon than a campaign that makes 80 sales. If you're taking the 1,000 potential sales and splitting them between two campaigns, you have two campaigns that are making 500 sales each, in the most simplified version of this answer.
Sure. All right, thanks. I'll let you
It,
move on. Sorry, I can go
yeah.
forever.
No, listen, this is what my AMAs look like, by the way.
Right.
I'll answer, I can and will answer anything. But part of the problem with answering anything is we don't always have an exact answer. It is not 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah.
It's there is a lot of data that we don't have access to. We will never have access to it, and Amazon doesn't want us to have access to it. Just so you understand conceptually, Amazon always, by definition, wants there to be some mystery in how they do things. They need there to be mystery, and we actually need mystery also. I'll tell you why. If the algorithm was understood 100%, immediately people will come in and game that system because they understand every piece of it. It will be gamed immediately. By having some part which is gray and fuzzy and unknown, Amazon can control for those people trying to hack the system. Has to be.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a provisional patent for an AI interface that provides complete transparency, which is, I think that's what I think all of this is going away, and we're going to end up with complete transparency. And I think I have the interface that I could patent that's going to manage it for everyone.
There is the law of unintended consequences, in which Wikipedia is supposed to be completely transcript and has been mauled beyond all usability. So, yeah, again, these concepts are deep, and there is a world in which humans are an unfigure-outable variable when they actually start using your transparent system. Your system is not being used by other computers. Your system is being used by humans.
So, all
okay,
right, sorry.
so
Sorry, everyone. I can go on forever.
yeah, my pleasure. All right, guys, so let's do this. I do see a couple of other questions, and I don't know if Macintosh is he, she, or they, but so I mean, listen, we live in a world where all are possibilities, and I see also from Dragos. Let's do this. Let's work through the presentation today. We'll roll up through the chat box and I'll answer these questions afterwards, and I'll take any others that have come up in the meantime. One thing which is good about today is it is really a wrapping up section. It is like the last day of school in which you want to teach something, but it is sort of like a cap on the week. We have done a lot this week. I think everybody would agree. Okay, so let's start off and let's make a presentation. By the way, is everybody good with this? Is there anything, I don't know how you would even define urgent, but is there anything urgent that we should do before we start the presentation? I'll say that's a no. All right. So the other conversational thing, by the way, as we get into this is, what did homework look like for everybody? As everybody started to actually build audiences and start to like look at factors and details, did anybody find anything that spurred their thinking in ways that were unexpected to them? It would be sad indeed if nobody found anything unexpected. Even my fake product of the Witch Watch got me thinking about audiences that are interested in magic. But I'll assume the answer is yes, and everyone is just being shy. All right, so day 5. Welcome back to everybody. We'll sort of reset for a moment. Welcome everybody to the Right Click AMC workshop 2025. Today is day 5. I appreciate all of you who have joined us all week. I know some people have been here one or more days. Some people have been here all 5 days. I appreciate all of you. The first slide of the set, of course, is the homework check, which was a quieter homework check than we've had all week. I will attribute that to everybody wanting to take their winter breaks. All right, so where are we today? Of course, during the course of the week, we have done a lot, and today is a wrapping update in which we will talk about how to create campaigns around the audiences we have built. Day one, we started off with setting the table and the foundation for the week ahead. Tuesday and Wednesday, we worked around all of the AMC data, which was deep. There was a lot in there. Thursday, we spoke about the AMC audience building. And today, we're going to wrap up the audience part by actually implementing and discussing what it looks like when it goes into the real world. So today's agenda, recap is done, homework is done. We're going to be talking about activating AMC audience campaigns. We're going to be talking about ideal campaign types, targeting and bidding, refreshing audiences. We're going to be talking about what goes next after doing these things and what it looks like long term. And then we'll talk about next steps after all of these things have been said and done and are running. So as we run these, basically, there should have been a slide in between just for the purpose of like setting up this one. But essentially what we want to do in the course of setting up campaigns, we are starting off with the point where we have audiences that we have built. As you've built this audience or the audiences in question, I have given you instructions that you should be thoughtful about what you want that audience to look like, what you're trying to accomplish with the audience, what it would look like when that audience is implemented and functioning. As you do that, you're basically going to be guiding in advance already what your campaign should look like as you put it into a campaign. Now, we've discussed about different types of audiences. At the beginning, we said in the beginning that there are two main types of audiences, retargeting and prospecting, or retargeting and lookalikes, or rule-based and lookalikes. And those two, after we said those two, we drilled down into a lot of detail. But for the purpose of building out campaigns, it's actually useful just to take a couple of steps up and break it down to those two types, because those two types are going to give you the framework for what your ad campaigns should look like. Now, all of this is nuanced. Over the course of the week, we've had different people participate, mention to us different business models. Each of those represent different ways to use AMC audiences, different kinds of insights you'll get out of the data. And all of this will and should be filtered to what your account should look like. Every single nuance is going to be specific to your account. Now, again, taking that step up, there are two basic groups of campaign settings. The first one is for retargeting. And then after that, we'll talk about lookalikes. For retargeting, in what we are trying to accomplish is take an audience of people who have had some interaction with your brand, with your company, with the products you sell. The interaction can be one of many interactions, everything from impressions to pages to add to carts to actual purchases to repeat purchases, all different types of interactions, but they are interactions. These people have all been validated in one way or another already. You are known to them. They are known to you in different layers of each other. Because of that, they have a higher value than somebody you just simply have not interacted with yet. Because they have that higher value, you want that to be reflected in how much focus you put on putting your product in front of them to turn into a sale. So what is that going to look like? There are 5 or 6 different types of elements which go into a campaign. There are many elements that go into a campaign, but they can be grouped into a few different ways. The first one is keywords or targets. And when it comes to retargeting, essentially from the whole world of keywords you might be running in an account, from the whole world of fresh keyword research you can run, the keywords you're going to pick in these situations are going to be proven performance. They're going to be the keywords which generate impressions, the keywords which generate clicks, the keywords which generate add to carts. Now, those we don't know exactly, but we have an idea. And of course, the keywords that make sales. All of these have been shown to generate the kinds of traffic we're trying to get in the course of retargeting. Those are the keywords you're going to use. And that's not all keywords. That is a subset of all the keywords you're going to run into as you do your work on Amazon. When it comes to ad types, which is the next element and grouping, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to use the ad types which are more focused as opposed to less focused. And you're going to use those, again, to take that focus, put it in front of a person who is more likely to purchase. Instead of broad or auto, you will be using exact and phrase. Instead of wide category like targeting, you will be using ASINs targeting, whether it is your own ASIN, whether it is the ASIN of competitors that you can rank against. You'll be using ASIN targeting thoughtfully. And these are the ad types which, within the world of keywords and these types of targets, these are the more focused groups of ad types that you'll be using. When it comes to bidding strategy, you will want to be more aggressive as opposed to less aggressive, because again, these people are qualified. Now, one of the things we want to do is to attempt to not take business and sales away from the existing campaigns that are already generating sales and business. The way we do that is by using bids which are lower than the bids in the rest of our campaigns, and by making up the lower bid with modifiers that push top of search more aggressively. So here, even our mid-range bid, even our starting bid is not going to be the lowest bid possible. One thing to keep in mind, I believe the maximum modifier is going to be 900%. I can check it, but I think it's 900% off the top of my head. That's still, depending on your starting amount, can cap you out on what the bid might end up being. And if you start out with a 25-cent bid, 9x is still only a couple of bucks. And that couple of bucks in 2025 for Amazon can often not even get you into the category, not even get you into the auction, or certainly not get you into top of search for a lot of products. It's an unfortunate reality, but it is the reality. So here, what you want to do is have a bid which, once modified, will get you most likely into that top of search category. That typically will be close to the middle of the range. Now, when you set your bid and set that modifier, you essentially want to pick a combination which doesn't have to be the maximum dollar amount possible. You don't have to go to a $26 bid once everything is factored in. You just want to be reasonably likely to get top of search placement for these campaigns. Now, what does that look like in terms of bid adjustments? I will suggest here starting off with a 50% top of search adjustment. Now, you can go much higher. We often go much higher than this, but here, in a world of modifiers, you can start off with 50% to add onto your bid, see what these run and look like, and then modify from there. All of these campaign settings and all of these campaigns, just like everything else on Amazon, is a testing part on day one. So you're going to build it out, see how it runs, make adjustments. The first adjustments you should be making are 2-bid adjustments. So as opposed to changing your bid before you change that bid you started with, you really want to be pushing the adjustments higher and higher and higher until you're getting the visibility you want. That should be the primary way your positioning is modified. As far as budgets go, $20 a day gives you $600 a month in ad spend. This is a good starting point for most categories of business. If you are much smaller, factor that in. Although the truth is, no matter what size of business you're at, once you get to bids which are more than a couple of bucks, anything under $20 is not going to get very many bids every day. And the whole purpose of running an ad campaign is to get visibility, is to get clicks, and to turn into sales. There's not many clicks. You might not be ready for this ad type yet. You have room to grow in the other ads we're running. So run with a $20 budget to start. This is a testing budget. And as you see things run, you can and should increase pretty quickly. The reason we don't start off with large budgets, $100 or more, is simply because we want to control for unexpected results. Amazon is a place where unexpected results happen often. If you have not run into an unexpected result that's unpleasant, you haven't been doing enough advertising. So one of the things I'll say, it's interesting because today is Friday. One of the general guidelines we have in our agency is we almost always prefer not to start an ad campaign on a Friday. Almost always. Why? Because the weekend is the weekend. We are off except for emergencies, and we do not want to come to a campaign 2 days later and see that it went wild and performed badly. By starting a campaign on a Monday, we can look at it all day long during Monday. We can look at it on Tuesday morning, start to evaluate. Same thing is here when it comes to budgets. Don't start a budget which is too high, because you don't know what it's going to do, and you don't want to find out uncomfortably that it did poorly. So that's our campaign settings for the types of ads which focus on retargeting. Now we're going to talk about the campaign settings for audiences which are lookalikes or which are prospecting. And essentially, it's going to be the flip side of this, but we'll discuss what the flip side actually means. So campaign settings for lookalikes. I wonder if anybody has noticed the wild gazelle sitting in the room. Nobody has commented about it until now, but there is a wild gazelle sitting in the room. And apparently they are very good at advertising because they'd like to know about our campaign settings. But campaign settings for lookalikes. Starting off with the keywords, we're going to do the opposite. We are looking for a wider audience of people to look at our product, and we will use looser terms. Instead of black V-neck T-shirt with with hemmed sleeves and cotton, like instead of a 9-word keyword, you're going to look at black V-neck T-shirt. You know the depths of the keywords for your specific product. You will typically have a shallow depth of words, which are 2 or 3 words in their terms, and then there is a longer tail of keywords. Use the shorter ones. Get that product to show to as many people as possible within the course of showing the product to as many people as possible. Just like with keywords, where we want to use terms that will show to more people, we will have ad types that we want to show to more people. Phrase, broad, auto, and category. All of those phrases aligned with the exact from the last one, but it is wider than exact. All of the others are designed to show to as many people as possible. These are the ad types you want to focus on for lookalikes. The purpose is, again, to cast a wide net of people to teach them that you exist and to take the first steps toward conversion. The conversions themselves are going to be great, and if they convert effectively, that's even better. But one of the main ideas in lookalikes is to begin that funnel of people seeing who you are on the way to purchasing. Bidding strategy, by its nature, the widest net will have a lot of people who are irrelevant. By its nature, it will spend money less effectively and have lower conversion rates than almost any other type of audience. Because of that, you want to control your costs. You want to start off with bids that are at the bottom of the range that Amazon gives you or even lower. And tied to that, you want to use lower modifiers. You are looking to show your product to people. That's why you are using an audience modifier in the first place. But at the same time, you want to be thoughtful and you can have focus on a group while still understanding that it is a wide net you are casting. So it is a wide net of people who are like your buyers. Simple as that. Show your product to them, invest extra in showing it to them, but be cautious about not wasting money. Here, daily budgets, you can start out with half of the budget you would start out with for a retargeting campaign. Because the bids are lower, you will get anywhere from 2x to 10x as many clicks with the same budget. You can start out with the lower budget. Again, run those with lower budgets at first so that you are not surprised uncomfortably, and go from there. One of the things to do is to make sure you set your KPIs properly. So what do I mean by setting our KPIs properly? KPIs are the measuring stick for when things are doing well or when things are doing poorly. Here, in most cases, our KPIs have to do with making sales and making money. That's almost always the KPIs that businesses start with. It should be, in the end, the KPI that really determines whether a business is successful. So sales, conversion rate, profitability, ACOS and TACOS, those are typically the things that we focus on when campaigns are focused on making sales. However, here, when we are looking at building an audience of people who know about our product and will end up purchasing our product, the metrics are going to be different. You're going to want to focus on metrics like impressions, which have to do with how many people saw your ad in the first place. That should be growing, and it should be a strong number compared to any of the other campaigns you run. Keep your eye on that, and that's what should be determining whether you grow your budget or not. Clear so far? Any questions? All right. The next thing is, once all of these campaigns are running, you've got a whole bunch of audiences. Again, I have accounts with many, many audiences. There are accounts with just a few because you're trying it out. But once you've built these audiences, what do you do as you're running? Well, one of the things you're going to want to think about is how often you should refresh or rebuild your audiences. And the things which are going to determine whether you refresh or rebuild your audience have to do with the time frames that it's looking at and what kind of information you're looking at on it. Within the system of AMC, there are 2 types of time frames that you can select. One is called a rolling date, and one is called a fixed date. Rolling dates are what's most common. They are, at any point in time, they are a window looking back. So, for example, last 30 days, last 7 days, last 365 days, it is always moving. If it's last 365 days, 3 days later, it's a different time window than it was 3 days ago. It just keeps moving. The concept is straightforward. It's what we expect when we build most campaigns. In these cases, no refresh is needed because it is always moving along with how business is moving. The audience is evolving as time goes. And the thing to keep in mind is that if you don't specify any time frame, Amazon uses this. They actually use last 30 days. Yesterday, when we were building audiences, even though we did not say any date, in both cases, when Amazon showed us its logic, it actually said, hey, we picked these last 30 days. I think it said like September 30th to October 30th, whatever time frames it said, but it said it was the last 30 days, and it is going to be rolling over time. So those are your rolling dates. The opposite of a rolling date, of course, is a fixed date. Fixed dates are when you tell Amazon, I want data from a certain period. I want a period from September 2025 is a fixed time period. It is not October. It is not 2024. It is not any other window of time. It is September 2025. That is a set window that created an audience. Prime Day is a great one. Prime Day audiences, if you are thoughtful about it, will let you create audiences that you can use the next Prime Day. So you can say, hey, based on this time frame, Prime Day 2024, which was a certain dates on the calendar, I forget what it was, based on the traffic that happened on this day, create audience X. That's fixed. It does not move. Now, in these cases, because it's not fixed and it's moved, it is stuck and it goes out of sync. So it's good if you want it, but if you are thinking that it's going to evolve over time, it obviously will not. It is set. Because of that, you need to keep refreshing it. The thinking here is that over time, that audience you picked on day one will not be useful and it will not be evergreen. You need to recreate these audiences and be thoughtful about it. For the most part, fixed dates are not something you have to worry about, but it's something that has to be known about. Rolling dates are going to be what you use most frequently. Again, whether it's retargeting for people who are purchasing a consumable product and you're picking your windows with which to show it to them, or whether it's just a regular audience which just works on a standard 30-day cycle, it's always going to be rolling. It's what should run. Fixed dates should be used around events. So Prime Day to October deal days, Prime Day to Cyber Monday, Black Friday, they should be fixed windows which are used around events. I'm sure there are scenarios which have to do with other calendar dates, but most commonly it's going to be around sale event days, and you go from there. So those are our refreshed audiences. And from here, once you've built out these audiences, once you've built out these campaigns, once they're running, we want to talk about longer term AMC strategies. What do you do once these campaigns have been running for a week or a month or a few months? How do we treat them compared to how we treat other campaigns? Well, here is the part which is fuzzy and unknown. All of this is new. Everybody here fits into the category of first mover. Although Amazon has had AMC in beta for 6 years at this point, since 2019 to 2025, it is still new. It is still evolving. Amazon is still adding features and functionality to it. These features and functionality are being started as recently as days and weeks ago. The ability for everybody to access it, it's weeks old. It's not even several months old. I think it's maybe 6 weeks old. It was introduced just before Amazon Accelerate. That happened in September, something like 6 weeks ago. It's new. It's going to change. Any strategy you do today is going to need to evolve, and knowing that in mind is going to be appropriate. If you see a campaign is starting to perform more poorly, come at it with what's called soft eyes, where you don't have a set conclusion in mind. You don't have a set checklist of things to look at like you do in a regular Amazon ad situation. Normally on Amazon ads, when things start functioning badly, we have a checklist. Depending on the thing that's not working right, we have a checklist of things that we'll go through. If ad spend went to 0 yesterday, we will check certain things. Did the credit card run out of budget? Did the subcategory get changed? Did the product go into a restricted status for some reason? Did the product run out of inventory? There's a checklist of things to show why an ad might not be running yesterday. All other types of breaking have their own checklists. AMC campaigns not performing the way we want, or AMC campaigns changing how they perform, do not have a set checklist yet. You'll want to take a look at what the thing is not performing right. You'll want to use thoughtfulness and imagination and creativity to think about why it's happening. You will build checklists over time. We will build checklists over time, but it's going to need to evolve. Going along with that, of course, testing is important. I can use up words on that, but the concept is simple and it's straightforward. Be ready for changes in features and mechanics. At this point, we are sort of saying the same thing in a few different ways, but it really is as important every single time we say it. Be flexible with this and test. Once you get to a certain amount of spend per month per product, you should actively be testing things, testing creatives, testing ad types, relaunching things that didn't work in the past if there's a reason to. Be constantly testing, and it goes double and triple for AMC. And the last part of it is obviously be creative. I have heard so many innovative ways to use AMC audiences, and we continue to use it. My team internally, we regularly have internal meetings, which are all hands-on meetings where we discuss all manner of things, and we periodically discuss what's an interesting way that you are using this platform that you can share with everybody. AMC audiences and ways to connect them are really, really a point that ends up getting talked about almost every week. Now, along that line was what are some of the interesting ways? I mentioned focusing on deal purchasers, people who only buy when products are on deals. I believe I mentioned it before. It is one of the most relevant ones, and we're building those out now for a lot of accounts that we work with, specifically to take advantage of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Anybody who's running a large deal, we're building an audience right around it. Another thing that I came up with, and again, I went out of my way to say it earlier, but Paul, I did not create this slide after we started talking. This slide was in the deck before the presentation started. The idea was to, if you are starting fresh, if you are in a situation where you can start fresh, segment the world of potential buyers throughout the funnel into audiences. You will end up with dozens of audiences, but if you are thoughtful about the segmentation, you are very thoughtful about the naming, you will have a large but siloed group of audiences. Take your ad campaigns, apply them separately with different all low bids, all with modifiers, one by one across your range of audiences. So now instead of 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 campaigns that would run on Amazon typically, you will have times 12x, times 18x. It is a lot to build out, but it will be hyper segmented. And that hyper segmentation should give you ability to make changes more finely, should be useful. There is a lot there. To actually implement this will certainly be difficult. It will certainly require all kinds of discussions. One of the challenges that we discussed even in this call is that human beings can be part of multiple audiences. How do you structure audiences to be as granular as possible? I actually don't even know the answer to that, because the type of person we're trying to segment, is part of the answer to that question. It is an idea. It's part of the world of being creative. So some of these creative ideas can be hashed out in like 11 seconds. Some of these segmenting ideas will take 6 weeks to implement. This is in the 6 week to implement category, because you will have to answer these tricky questions. You'll have to come up with an idea of what that detailed segmentation looks like. And then as you build it out, you might find out more weird things happening. Be creative, try things. If you have a large business or a large SKU count, you have opportunity with spend, and you have an opportunity with testable SKUs to do these things. I always recommend, when you use testing SKUs and when you do testing, do not test on a winner. Winners should be allowed to continue winning. Do not do a thing which could harm them. You want to focus on a mid-tier SKU, one which has potential to do much better if this thing takes off, but one where if you create a train wreck, not the end of the world. It'll sting. It will not be a disaster. So focus on SKUs which will show a measurable result if it works well, not the end of the world if it goes totally to zero. That is never going to be your top seller, never going to be your top few sellers. So it's important. All right. So having said all that, usually we will go to homework, but there is no more homework. I will not be following up with you Monday unless you want me to, but we've done a lot this week. I appreciate you all joining. I appreciate you all, participating and attending and doing the homework and giving me questions and making me think. I love all you guys for that. It has been a great week. Hopefully, it has been as good for everyone else as it has been for me. Um, this is actually, I don't know if I should be saying this, but this is the first 5-day workshop I have ever done. I've done 1 and 2 day workshops. I have done endless webinars. I still, I do my AMAs. If you search my name on Google, you will see endless amounts of videos. It's not the first time I've been in front of a camera or a Zoom or anything, but this is the first time I've done a 5-day workshop on a technically dense subject. So it has been an experience. I would love feedback, good, bad, and indifferent. Like, I would love to hear what you guys thought about it, what things I could do better about it, what things you think went well. I overall think it went well, and I'm going to answer the AMA part in a second because we're going to talk about what's next. So, having given this like little expository about what a wonderful week it was, of course, after today, you still have a business to run. And after today, you might have questions. After today, you might want to do more. So that leads to the question of what is next? Well, for your own businesses, obviously, go and do. Take what we've got and take what we've discussed, use it, implement it, test, hopefully, ideally grow. However, if you would like to work together with me, I've gotten a few messages during the week. People have said it out loud. If you're interested in working with me, if you're interested in working with my company, there are actually 3 options for this. Option number 1, we do consulting. I do consulting on a one-on-one basis with my partners, Jeff and Juana. We do consulting on a project basis. And in both situations, there's an interesting dynamic in which you can discuss things you can't discuss in any group situation. And when you're working with an external person, a lot of times that will be the only time you can discuss internal things with someone who will be able to give you good perspective, but not be involved. So there is a good relationship there. It's almost like a psychiatrist relationship or a therapist relationship. So consulting services, we have a lot of experience. We have helped a lot of businesses. It is one of the things we do. Second thing we do is advertising management. I have an Amazon PPC agency. We are an Amazon Ads verified partner. I'm going next week. Is it 10 days? 10 days from now, I will be at an Amazon conference specifically to talk about all of the new developments, even besides this, that are going to be coming. It's called the Unboxed event. We are partners with Amazon. We try to do high quality work and try to help you with your accounts. The third thing that we do is a project called RightClick. The entire presentation week has been called the RightClick AMA program, AMC program. And RightClick is a project that me, Jeff, and Awana, I don't know how much the guys know of Jeff and Awana, but the 3 of us got together a year ago, and we've been building out a project called RightClick. Essentially, we have a lot of experience on Amazon, and the experiences we have sort of fit together nicely. I have experience in ads. I know more than the average bear. I'll never claim to be the smartest person in the room. There are definitely always smarter people than me, but I know my ads a good amount. Jeff is a process person. He is a person who is a ClickUp Advanced certified agency. He creates processes and systems for businesses from small to large, all the way up to businesses that are doing close to $1 billion a year. He creates systems for running businesses and systems for running ads, SOPs, workflows, all those types of things. It fits together very nicely with how to run ads. And of course, Juana is our third partner. She is a AI guru. She has run workshops for Kevin. She has been on Danny McMillan's podcast. If you know him, you'll know what that means right away. She has written white papers on the technicalities of AI, and she knows how to utilize AI within the Amazon system well. And what we found out is that the 3 of us have a good synergy when we work with brands. We started doing project consulting together, as I mentioned earlier, but an interesting thing happened. As we started to do this project consulting, we were creating content, all sorts of videos for how to do things for the brands we were working with. And at some point, we realized we have a good amount of content, and maybe we can help more than 4 people that we can have time to consult with every month. From that, we said, okay, let's take this stuff we've done. Let's build on that. Let's build a platform where we can help brands level up. Brands who are just starting will be able to have strong quality technical information to work with as they grow. Brands who are strong already, brands who are doing 7 figures a year, 8 figures a year, in some cases 9 figures a year, will be able to add a zero to their business. And we put that together. We've built this platform called RightClick. I can show it to you. I actually will show it to you in a sec. And with that, when you come in, you will become part of a community that is working together on an ongoing basis. You asked about the AMAs. Right now, the AMAs that I do are for a completely different group. It's called Brandon Young's Seller Systems. They are not really what we do. They are a seller community, which has Brandon Young is a very smart guy who has his entirely own systems, but it's not exactly what we do. It is something that I do to help out his community because I like Brandon as a friend. Within RightClick, we are going to be launching our own AMAs. We don't have them yet because we are pre-launch, which is part of this discussion. As part of the pre-launch, this is where the offer comes in. So as far as consulting goes, if you'd like to work on consulting, you can definitely reach out to me. There's a QR code that goes to my website for consulting services, and it goes to ads management. Reach out to me. Certainly happy to discuss. If you'd like to work on RightClick, which is a completely different project that's got its own QR code and that has an offer as part of being pre-launch. So we've been working on this for a year. We have a lot of content there. We're already going live somewhat regularly, but it is still pre-launch. Launch is happening sometime in November. We're still working on a few last pieces of content to get it launch ready. We're working on some things like permissions for files and all those random things that have to exist when you're running a business. So we are still in pre-launch phase. But as a thank you for joining us and coming along with us on this journey, of course, we're going to have a pre-launch pricing. Now, before I get into the pre-launch pricing, I actually want to show you what the RightClick community looks like. For those of you who are familiar, we use a platform called Skool. And you can see it here. I think I need to adjust my share very slightly. There we go. All right. So RightClick looks like this. It is a community sitting within Skool. It's got a community. It's got classrooms. We have a calendar of events. Of course, at this point, we have almost 4 dozen members who have joined us, all in pre-launch phase. Over the past couple of months, we have been getting great feedback on it. These days are out of order. People are posting every few days about things we drop. You can see here an entire series dropped on title optimization. And when we talk about what the content looks like, somebody wants to join the webinar. I think he joined. That's fine. But talking about the actual content, this is where RightClick glows. This is the thing which I'm really proud about. In our classroom, we have a ton of content. All of our live calls are stored. We have 9 or 6, 8, I don't know how many modules. We have a ton of modules on PPC. We focus our PPC on a tool called Scale Insights. It's a combination of technical on how to use Scale Insights as a software, but also all of the mechanics of how PPC runs. They're both in there. In addition to PPC, which you'll find in most courses, we have a ton that fits with it. So when it comes to content, we have 3 different sections, and each of those sections has a whole bunch of videos in them. Main image optimization, there are literally 8 videos that have to do with plugging in AI and connecting to the AI system for a main image. That's one image, has 8 videos associated with it. And there you can see Oana, my partner, doing her thing in creating videos. All of the rest of it, you can see things around inventory, reporting in meetings, operations, pricing. This pricing thing is wild. You can see Jeff here. Jeff is partner number 3. He's got his own content. And you can see just for setting the price in a complex world of Amazon, we have 7 different videos here. He literally created 7 videos. There's over an hour and a half of talking about how to set a price. If you are of the business to be able to utilize this, it is invaluable. Contribution margins, again, we have multi-layers of contribution analysis. It's sort of nerdy, I'm sort of ranting, but also I really want to communicate how useful this will be for the brands that can take advantage of it. Brands can take advantage of it if they want to level up effectively and not find themselves swimming in mud, so to speak, once they got to a certain size, or brands who are of the right size will be able to clean up their operations really well. So there's a lot here. Tools and extensions, deals, like there's a lot in here, as you can imagine. And as part of that, there is still more to come. A bunch of these have coming soon parts into it. We are We are at what's called MVP, if you're familiar with it, minimum viable product. We're actually 6 stages beyond MVP. There's a lot there that you've seen already, and we will be adding more and filling this pipeline with videos for ideally years to come. Because of that, we are looking to build this audience and this community together, and we have built out a special pricing for those of you who want to join with us now. So when we launch, we're going to be starting out at a price of $3,000 a month, and this is actually a competitive price in the world of courses. For those of you who have bought courses, they go from hundreds up to many thousands of dollars, and those almost always will just focus on PPC 95% of the time. Here, this is a rate which is, for what you get for it, is unbelievable. And what we're doing here as part of the launch is we're doing a few things for you. The first thing is we're taking 25% off because we haven't launched yet, because we're still figuring out a few last things. You will have access to all of this, but you will be getting 25% off. In addition to that, we'll be doing a couple of things. Number one, we will take the price of this workshop and put it straight to it. In addition to putting the price of the workshop to it, I'm going to give you, just so we can get to this price, we're going to be taking an extra $50 off because I really do feel bad about the technical headaches. Within hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos, I've never had fuzzy screens two times in a row. So because of that, we're going to round it down slightly, and we're going to bring it down to $19.97. In addition to the $19.97, there is a maintenance fee of $100 a month. That is just for the work that goes into maintaining a community as an actual standing community. Like I said, we've got all of the content we put out all week. There are actual technical things sitting underneath it that all have to be run. And this is basically a chance to get in on a community which will grow and will help you grow. Like I said, we have the other things, but Right Click Now is our actual baby. This price is going to hold until we launch, which should be the next few weeks. I recommend getting in on it early, simply because this is going to be the best chance to get the most value out of it. And that's sort of basically what we've got for today. We've discussed AMC. We've discussed tons of AMC, and we've discussed what we can do afterwards. We've answered all kinds of questions afterwards, and that's sort of what we've got for today. All right. Thank you everybody for joining. I'm not hanging up now, but this is the last of the spreadsheet part of it. Does anybody have any questions? Or I guess maybe we should start out with the questions of that people have been dropping inside the chat. Would that be the right place to start?
Yes.
Right,
Hello, Abby?
Yeah,
Abby, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Helen.
Hey, Helen. I know we've been communicating by email, so I appreciate the fact that we were able to figure out getting into the room today.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I know you are what I need. So may I have appointed with you another room to check out my store. And I was confused. Your price means the separate price. The 90, almost the 2,000 is the total one or the separate? The total.
There's two parts to it. To join the community is $19.97. Once you join the community, there is the fee of $100 a month. So it's the two of them together.
Okay, so just pay 2,000 plus 100 per month is okay, and can purchase all of your cards, right?
So when you pay the $2,000, you get the full course, and you have access to everything that we have on the day you sign up. So if we have 100 videos, the day you sign up, you get
Yes.
the 100 videos. Now,
Yes.
as you stay with us, we will be adding more and more and more content over time. Every
Yes.
day, every week, every month, we will be adding more content, more software partner. Like, there will be a lot, and the goal is to keep growing. We will be doing live content. You will have access to us. You will have access to a community. This is what goes that. The day that you want to leave, if you want to join, if you want to purchase the course and leave within 1 minute, that would be the $19.97. If you stay for 17 months, the day you leave, all the extra things that go, you've got
Okay.
it. Anything we add after the day you leave, this is afterwards. But yes, it's up until the day you leave. Our goal really, I strongly don't think that anybody should come and join and take whatever is here, because there is going to be a lot happening. It's going to be growing a lot. And the goal is really to join a community and get really a bunch of systems as opposed to one snapshot today. But of course, everybody can do what they want.
Got it. Got it. Okay. After this meeting, can I talk about another Zoom? Maybe not waste your time too much. It's half an hour.
Let's see when this wraps up because I do have other calls for today, but I do have your email. We can schedule a time. It doesn't even have to be far away, but let's see what the day looks like.
Okay. So I want to pay, but it must be today or another day is okay.
Yeah.
I decided to pay.
Whenever you're ready. You're not required to pay within the next 5 minutes, of course.
Okay. Okay.
I'll let
It's good.
Ava email you. I don't want to like share the screen for 86 hours. But like Ava can share the screen for Ava can send you the link for the payment and we can get ready with
Okay.
that. And if anybody needs it, actually let's do this.
Okay.
Let's share the screen again with the barcode or the QR code. And for anybody else who wants to join, just like Helen,
Mhm.
we'll make that easy for everybody. All right. So this is the link that goes directly. This is the link that goes directly to the purchase option for RightClick. I'll actually move up because we did speak about a couple of options. So here are the two links that are relevant for working with us. If you want to
Yes.
come join us in RightClick, use the QR code on the right. If you'd like to work with us on a consulting level or on an advertising management level, use the link on the left. You can certainly use both links if you'd like to get information about all of the things, but these are the two groups of ways to work with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
I'll leave it up for a minute so anybody can use their phone or whatever for that, and then we can go back. I know that there are a few other questions besides
Thank you.
whatever you've got, Helen. I'm happy to answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Like I said, I know we do have a bunch of questions in the chat. Let's scroll up and go through those. All right. So, all right. Starting at 12:11 p.m. Hey, Abe, on Wednesday at the end of the webinar, you mentioned a new thing, sometimes like repurchased ad spots, and you didn't have the time to get into it. Do you remember this? And can you touch on it, please? Yes. Let's pull it up. Give me a second because I do have to pull up the actual content. All right. Yes. So Amazon basically sent out a notification. I don't know if they sent it out to all sellers or a certain group of sellers, or they sent it out just to ad partners. But basically, it's a new program called, the heading of the email was, let's see, drive top of search visibility and engagement by reserving branded share of voice through sponsored brands. Amazon is launching a new sponsored brand features called Reserved Share of Voice, which enables advertisers to secure top of search sponsored brands placement for branded keywords at a fixed upfront price. So essentially, if you have a brand that you want to protect, it's your brand, you will be able to take those to buy the headline ads for your brand in advance at a set price. You will be able to block out other people from potentially showing a headline ad against you. That sounds good. The problem with this is nobody knows exactly what that means. Nobody knows what this is going to cost. Nobody knows how Amazon is determining your brand, because even on Amazon, brand registry and brand association with products is not always perfect. How do they consider branded queries? Is it by ASIN if somebody is looking for a product name, or is it only for a branded search? So if you sell a product and you have a name of your product which is really specific to your brand, if you sell Kleenex, the Kleenex company is not called Kleenex. So if the brand is different than the company that owns it or different than the actual product line, how's that going to work? Nobody knows any of this, but it is a new program they're rolling out. There's a developer guide for it, which makes me think it's not sent to everybody yet, but it's something which is like sort of rolling out. I don't know why I threw it off. It must have been as part of some larger conversation, but that is it. So, yes, sponsored brand, reserved share of voice. All right, next. One question: how long does it take from creating a new audience until it is visible when creating a new campaign? So there's two parts to this question. Part number one of this question is, how long does it take until a newly created ad campaign shows on Amazon? That is, the answer to that is moments. If you create an ad campaign, you should be able to see the result of your ad campaign, whatever thing you're trying to advertise, whatever keyword, you should see the result in moments to minutes. Not much more than that. Anything else longer than like 2 minutes is considered delay and something's up. It might be for a review or it might be for something else, but it should show moments to minutes. This is also true, by the way, in a larger way when it comes to trying to drive visibility. Your ad is not showing because you're on page 7 and you really want to show on page 1. A common misconception is that you can change your bid and you need to come back tomorrow to see what your numbers look like or something like that. Wait a couple of days till it takes in the system. Not correct. You should be able to see whether your ad now shows on top of search within a minute. And you can test to see what is the bid that gets you to top of search. You might not like the number, but you can see what it takes to move a position just by changing your bid and waiting moments. This is an important thing when we're actually testing to see if there's a problem, because we see if people's ads are not showing, one of the ways that we test to see if there's some kind of issue is to try testing a super high bid. If we're getting information that ads are supposed to be showing, but for some reason they're not, one of our tests is with a really high bid. That's one part of your answer, is that it should show immediately. The other part of it is how do you see visibility on an audience? This part is less clear, because how do you tell that the right audience is seeing your ad? This, I imagine, you have to trust Amazon. There is no way to view an ad as a member of an audience. You can't filter yourself to be the people in your audience and then run a search. So unless you know a person who fits into an audience, they don't fit into any other way to look at it, and you ask them if they see an ad that you ran, there's no real way to prove that an audience is running and showing effectively. Just, you don't have the data for it. All right. So can you modify the SQL for the back-looking window? Yes. You can modify it in SQL. There are fields for it, and you can modify it in the natural language. You just say, please look at this date and modify that range. Depending on the type of data, you can either go back 12 and a half months, or you can actually go back 3 years or 5 years. It's situational, but yes, there is data that will go back far in a lot of cases.
But does it roll, or are those set dates though? Does it roll? If you say I want to look back 120 days and I'm using the rolling time, does that also roll if
Yeah.
I modify
Yeah.
the SQL?
Yes, it will roll.
Okay.
Whether you're using SQL or whether you're using natural language. Well, I guess for creating an audience, you can do it with natural language, and the language will be for the last 120 days. You're not specifying a date. You're just specifying last 120 days, and it should roll. And then you mentioned Kevin Conceal bought a calendar last year. And yes, you can go back depending on the type of audience you're trying to build. If you remember, one of the things I mentioned is that in the webinar, this is already not even the workshop, but we mentioned that the windows keep getting longer. So we started out with a very short window. I think it might have been like 30 or 90 days or something. And at some point they changed it to 12.5 months, not even 12 months, 12.5, which, believe it or not, is very useful, because technically 12 months is 11.99 months, and you never see the same month twice. 12 and a half gets you a little bit further. So you have a full year. But then they went to 3 years, and I think they went to 5. It's fuzzy, but now it is a very useful window. So yeah, we can go back years, and Kevin can see his data of last year. For a Prime Day audience, would you recommend just using the most recent, i.e. 2025, for next year's Prime Day 2026? Or do you recommend using data from several Prime Days, i.e. 2023, 24, 25? Okay, so it depends on your brand. If you have a brand which has been consistent for years, so say, for example, you sell Captain Crunch cereal. You guys have, packaged cereal at home. You all know Captain Crunch. That brand is established for many years. And Prime Day to Prime Day to Prime Day, there's going to be a consistency or a moving up and down with the market. And in that case, you can actually observe things moving up and down with the data from those years. So it'll be useful. However, most brands are not that. Most brands have data that is less than many years, or actionable data which is less than many years. And in those cases, just the most recent year of Prime Day is going to be fine. So Yeah, that's sort of, I think that should answer it properly. On the watch, if Amazon does not know the person has a cat, does it take them out of the watch pool? Is actually a very good question. And I think that you can resolve it by specifying all of the conditions. So I'm not sure if Amazon by default specifies that all conditions have to be met, or if it'll do any of the conditions. I have to imagine that it requires all conditions to be met, because then otherwise an audience would not actually be segmented. So by definition, by logic, it should be that all conditions have to be met. And in your example, yes, if the person likes magic but does not have a cat, out.
That's the thing.
Um,
And then, so then you'd be forced to run the same keywords against each other for one that does have a cat and one that Amazon doesn't know if they have a cat. They're treating it as they don't have a cat.
well, we are trusting Amazon to have a mountain of data about people. The whole reason we use audiences is because we start out with the faith that Amazon has a mountain of data that they don't tell us about. So they know that if somebody has a cat, the odds are that they have bought a cat related thing. They have bought a cereal bowl for their cat. They have bought a costume for their cat. They have bought a leash or a kitty chew toy or a cat house. They have bought something from Amazon for their cat. Odds are. Now, yes, for sure, there's an audience of people who are significant users of Amazon that have cats that have never bought anything for that cat. It's invisible to Amazon. But we're trusting that Amazon knows a lot about people who own cats. The whole premise
Yeah.
of AMC is that we trust Amazon to have a mountain of data about people.
Yeah, just the biggest weakness I see in it is that if everything is binary on there, then in order to not to have it even have it spend, you're gonna have to run the same keywords with different segments that are gonna overlap. And they're gonna compete. There's almost no way to not compete against yourself and have overlap there because you have deal killers like that one, and she could work at PetSmart. It's just that's the big
So,
weakness I see.
so there are different amounts of impact. Just because a thing is true does not mean it's impactful. There are different variations. So yes, in theory, there are people that have cats that Amazon does not know about. Absolutely true. However, the likelihood is that a multi-trillion-dollar business where people spend their whole lives getting packages every freaking day, if they have a cat and they buy a whole bunch from Amazon, Amazon has sold them a cat thing. Yes, of course, there are going to be people who do not fit into it. But again, it's not binary. There are different layers of impact there. If you want a perfect system, you're completely in the wrong business.
Right.
Retail is the wrong business for absolute perfection of data. You're not going to get that.
Yeah.
Like selling anything, you're not going to have perfect data. Like any kind of assumption you make or any kind of thing that all of your history shows changes all the time. It used to be that if you want to sell a Rolex, the person who buys a Rolex is a person who walks into the place and has a fancy car and has a suit. And that's the guy. If a person does not wearing that and he walks in the store, X does not have $6,000 for a whatever a Rolex costs today. That used to be the assumption. And very famously, that assumption has been turned upside down. Every bro that sold 2 pieces of Bitcoin is buying the fanciest gold Rolex around and is wearing a billionaire boy's t-shirt. It's not fit. It changed. Are you going to say that you're going to make an exclusion for X, Y, and Z and never sell to those people? You have to be flexible. I can give you, I mean, they can use our imagination for a million examples. But number one, you have to work with the assumption that Amazon has a mountain of data. Number two, you have to be accepting of the fact that the data will be absolutely imperfect, but you're happy with 82 or 91 or 97 or 68% accuracy. Figure out what that accuracy is. Think if Amazon has it, think if you're comfortable with it. 100%, you're not getting it. Amazon, nobody has 100%. By the way, this goes to the data accuracy thing. Any situation where 100% of the data is transparent can and will be gamed.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there should be in there. There should be there should be a boost setting, you know, like, instead of it being appear to be a binary SQL thing, that they should have a, you know, a weighting within it so that you can really use it, you know, like 100% this trait, and, you know, this is 50% relevant, this is, you know, 20% relevant, and really use some AI logic on it, you know, it's just,
Yeah.
these days,
Oh,
you know, with all the compute that's out there, I feel like you could do that, you know?
yeah, I get it. Listen, I understand. And I like you, I want data to be better. I think it's pretty clear that I live in the world of data and I understand data at least reasonably well. And
Yeah.
yes, I understand the gaps and I wish the gaps weren't there, but you sort of have to be accepting of it. Um, you might have heard this joke or this funny anecdote. I don't even know if the anecdote is true. There was a guy who was using a software and he needed a change to happen. And he couldn't get the ear of anybody that worked at the place. And what did he do? He went, he got hired as a programmer at the place. He changed the code and quit because he needed that feature. Like that was actually faster than submitting trouble tickets. So if you've got the chops, apply to be a programmer at Amazon and change it the way you want.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not, I mean, it's obviously not a realistic solution, but this, you know, that story illustrates that things are imperfect.
No, I'm coming from a history of application design. And with a
Well,
lot
if
with
you
a
come
lot
from a
of,
history of application design, you know that application design breaks as soon as humans touch it.
yes, I'm an expert at breaking.
So that's it.
applications.
Humans
but
are
even
not going to fit into your pre-built audiences perfectly. They just will
Yeah.
not. They're humans.
Yeah.
but even if you had a perfect audience and you're showing your ad to your perfect audience on this day, there's a percentage of people that are in that audience that they're not in the market for your product on that particular day.
Yeah.
But they're still part of your audience. Even if it's a perfect audience, it's not the perfect day for them to buy your product because they're not interested in your product today, but they might be tomorrow. So I think what Abe's saying is, you know, sure, it's not perfect and it's not all the data, but with AMC, we have considerably more data than we do without it. So
Yeah, but remember, we're starting with a
take the
keyword.
extra data that we do have, use it to the best of our ability, test it, and fine tune it as best you can. And hopefully Amazon gives us more data, and then we can use that data instead of looking for the perfect solution, which doesn't exist. So just take the extra that we have and use it. And if we use it well, it's going to make incremental gain in our business.
Yeah. And if your business is at the right size, percentage points buy you Rolexes at the certain
Right.
size of businesses, you know? So they buy you houses at certain sizes of business. So take those and say, I would like more, but I'll wait till those features come along.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do actually have a hard stop at 1:30. It was a soft stop at 1, but it is a hard stop at 1:30. Anything else I could answer from anybody else?
If you were to say, I know this is going to be different for every business, but as general as you can be, if there was one or two things that you'd say, go after this to start with, like from what you've taught us this last week, what would be the one or two things that you'd say, do these things first, go after these things first, and then go from there?
What's your starting point? Are you starting from a point of not selling? Are you starting from a point of selling X amount?
Well, I've been selling since 2013. We're an established brand.
Okay. The first thing that I would recommend, is this a general question or a question about AMC?
About AMC.
Okay. If you've been selling since 2013, you've got I'll assume you have a decent amount of spend, a decent amount of sales, whatever, however we categorize decent. The first thing I'm going to recommend for you, look through those sets of data that you can pull, run every single one. You don't know what you're going to pull out of it, but pull as many data sets that you can that Amazon can give you insights into. Look at them without an expectation of what it's going to tell you. And that will actually give you insights that you didn't know were there and should give you some guidance.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say I always like to get as much information as possible. You know, when I was growing up, one of my teachers told us something that really stuck in my head. Like, you know, we go through school and there's like everything is a haze. You just remember individual moments. But one of the things that a teacher taught me was that when you're looking at a complex problem, if you don't know the answer to a complex problem, the problem is that you don't understand the question well enough. It's not that you don't understand the answer. It's always going to be you don't know all of the pieces that go into the issue right there. As soon as you know all of the issues, the answer is almost always obvious and simple. And that is a thing which has served me well throughout so much of my life, and especially in business and especially in a technical space, because I just keep asking more and more questions because the answer doesn't appear obvious to me yet. And if it's not obvious to me yet, I haven't asked enough of the right questions, and I just keep poking. So take that data, get all the data you can, and see what reveals itself.
Cool. Thank you.
Good. Make sense?
Yes.
Very good. All right. I like that question, actually, because the questions that have to do with mindset and framing and where to go, I feed off that stuff. All right. Anybody else? All right. Amazing. All right, guys. For everybody who joined us all week, everybody who stayed today all the way till the end, everybody who will go on your own journeys afterwards, anybody who will continue on your journey with us, I appreciate you all. It has been a great week. If you ever need anything, even in general, you know how to find me in all the social media places. If you've had a great week, tell Kevin you've had a great week. If you haven't had a great week, just tell me privately. All right, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Abe. Appreciate it.
Ed.
You got it. Bye.
Cheers.